Hey guys, so I recorded this on Friday before I even taught 2-2, so I'm doing this just to make sure nothing funky happens with my flight. So if something should happen to my flight, at least you guys have the lesson ready to go. So on Friday's lesson, we talked about tables and the gummy worms, so this is taking that a little bit further. So today I'm going to introduce you to something called a rate table. I didn't invent it, but it's one of my favorite things to use. How do rate tables help us find equivalent ratios? Well, what the heck is a rate table? Let's start with that. So a rate table is a list of equivalent ratios written out in a table. So it's like this right here, right? So we have equivalent ratios and they're written out in a table. So it is equivalent ratios written out in a table. So it is equivalent ratios written out in a table. That's pretty easy. And so what is equivalent ratio? Well, it's going to be a fraction that increases by a specific number. And I'll show you how to do it. You're going to need a ruler today. I like these clear ones, so we're going to go ahead and make a rate table right here. I don't want to spend too much time doing this, but this is where I'm going to be working. So here's my table. It started off, right, and it says create a table where 4 tickets to a baseball game cost $32. So I start off ticks and costs. Those are my tickets and my costs. And now I'm going to go through and make grids kind of like here, okay? And you can see that I made a little bit of a mistake, but I went ahead and they told me that 4 tickets cost $32. And you see that the 4 tickets go into the tickets row, and the cost goes under 32. I'm going to start thinking about numbers that relate. So I'm going to divide it in half. That would be 2 and 16. And maybe you're like, okay, I know half of 2, right, or divided by 2 is 1, and 16 divided by 2 is 8. The important thing to know is that how do we get to here? Well, this would be times 2, and to here, it's times 2. Once we get down to this 1 right here, this is that unit rate that's super important. Well, this is 1, 2, and I'm sure you could write 3 here, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And you can see all you're going to do is take this first number and then multiply it by the number. So 1 times 3, 1 times 4, 1 times 5. And we do the same thing down here. It's going to be 8 times 2 for this one. And here it's going to be times 3. So 8 times 3 is 24. 8 times 4 is 32. 8 times 5 is 40. So forth and so on. Go ahead and complete that on your own. Okay, so again, just to review, I started with the 4 over 32, and then I was able to divide that in half to get to 2. And then to get to 1, I had to divide if I go to the left, if they get smaller, it's dividing. If I go to the right, it's multiplying. So in this case, I saw it was divided by 2, got me there. And I'm able to multiply these all up. So then we're going to talk about this next one. What are 2 unit rates in the table at the right? Right? What are 2 unit rates? Well, remember, unit rates are defined as breaking it down to 1. So there's a 1 there and a 1 there. And what that means, what's Alexis's unit rate? So you go to Alexa, and she has 1 to 2. So her rate, Alexis's rate is 1 to 2. In segments for Crystal, she gets 1 to a half. Okay, that's pretty easy. You just have to find the 1. The unit rate right here, it's 1 ticket to $8. 1 ticket to $8. So that's the unit rate there. All right, so this next one is really what you would use this like if you're planning something, you want to figure out the cost per person. So like some people might plan a wedding in the future, and they would tell you, hey, it's $55 per person. And you could look at how much 200 people are going to be, or 300, or 100, and you can look at the rates. For an upcoming barbecue, the 6th grade wants to purchase 5 dozen hamburgers and 3 dozen juice packs. At the store, they see a package of 12 burgers for $8, and half a dozen, that's 6, right? So I'm just going to put a 6 there, half a dozen, drinks for $3. Fill in a rate table to figure out the cost of buying the drinks, the burgers, and the drinks the grade needs. Okay, so we got to get to 60, right? We got to get to 60. We'll put that in there. So think about that for a minute and see if you can fill these out. If not, just wait a minute and we'll come right back and I'll help you out. Okay, a little bit of a mistake. They're not 60 because I just realized it was 3 dozen juice packs, and a dozen is 12, so 3 times 12 is 36. That's why that goes there. And 5 times 12 is 60, and that's why it goes there. So let's start with the burgers. Let's get this down. Let's make it smaller. Let's leave it like it is right now. Let's just double this maybe. So we'll say 24. And if we double 8, we get 16. I'm going to double this again. I get 48. And I double this again, and I get 32. Okay. We can keep going, right? The total cost for 6th grade, I can tell right now it's going to be more than $32, right? And I have to get up to 60. So I could also look at numbers that are related to 60. I see right here 12 is related to 60, and it's through multiplication. And it's going to be 12 times 5, which means on the bottom it's going to be 8 times 5, right? And so, of course, 12 times 5 is 60, and 8 times 5 is 40. So it's going to cost them $40 there. Over here, they're trying to get down to what would one burger cost, and we're going to get down to a really small number. It's actually going to be less than 1. But we could figure out how much a burger is. We could split this in half. This could be $6 and $4, right? $16, $32, $40. Same thing over here. We're going to look for numbers that relate to 36. I'm hoping that you guys see it right off the get-go. 6 times what is 36? 6 times 6 and 3 times 6 is going to be $18, right? We're just going to fill these in, so it's going to be 12. We doubled that. Double this would be 6. Let's double 12 would be 24, and double 6, this would be 12. We're starting to see equivalent ratios as we go. These are all equivalent ratios. If we split this in half, half of 6 is 3, and half of 3 is 1.5, or $1.50, because we're talking about money. So these are equivalent ratios, and a lot of times we want to get down to 1. 1 is the number that we're really looking to get to. In this case, they want to know how much it had to cost, so it would be $40 and $36. We're going to add that up. Their total cost, because it's the total for drinks and food, is going to be $76. Okay? So I flipped the page over. It says Crystal wants to calculate costs quickly for many different numbers of fruit worms. So if she was selling it at a table, she wants to figure out how much to charge people. They say, I got 150, and they're like, boom, you owe us this much. Complete the rate table and below are the prices for each of the numbers of the tree fruit worms. Remember that these are all relatable, right? How does 30 become 90? Well, I'm hoping you see it's 30 times 3, right? This would be times 3 here. 30 times 3 is 90, and 3 times 3 is 9. How does 30 get to 150? Well, 30 times 5 gets to 150, and 3 times 5 gets us to 15. 30 times 6 gets us to 180, and 3 times 6 gets us to 18. So these have to increase by the same number. Now on the right we multiply, so in this direction we're going to multiply. Well, in this direction over here, right, we're going to divide. Okay, so 30 divided by 2 is 15. 3 divided by 2 is going to be 1.5. 30 divided by what is 10? Well, 30 divided by 3 is 10, and 3 divided by 3 is, and these are dollars, that's just why I'm writing it like that. 30 divided by what is 5? Well, 30 divided by 6, and 3 divided by 6 is going to be equal to 50 cents. And you can see that, right? From 10 to 5 is divided by 2. From half of $1 is 50. And the last one, we just go here. 10 divided by 10 is 1. And 1 divided by 10 is going to be equal to 10 cents. And you can do it if you want, right? You can check your math. So I'm going to take $1 divided by 10, because I'm just going from this one, is there. Or you could say, oh, I want to go from 30. And you could say 30 divided by 30 is 1. And 3 divided by 30 is 10 cents. So it's okay to use a calculator. So then I have some other questions. We have 2 unit rates on here. I'm going to highlight them for you. This is a unit rate right here. And this is a unit rate right here. This is a unit rate on the top. This is the unit rate for gummy bears, or gummy worms, and this is the unit rate for price. How much do 3 fruit worms cost? 3. So you're going to have to take this and multiply it by 3. So 1 times 3 is 3, and 10 cents times 3 is going to be 30 cents. Go ahead and try that for these next 4 here. Once I know the unit rate for gummy worms, it's really easy. So 300 gummy worms would be 1 times, how much do 3 gummy worms cost? So take 0.10 times the 300 worms and it'd be $30. Okay. So now we're going the other way. How much would 50 cost? Well, I'm going to look on here for a number like here's a 1. Okay, so 1 times 50 is 50, and it would be 10 times 50 because I get 10 gummy worms for $1. So that's 10 gummy worms times the $50, and I get 500 gummy worms. For 100, well, I have to take the 1 times 100 is 100, and 10 times 100 is what? Go ahead and write that in. Okay, so hopefully you got 1,000. It'd be 10 times 1,000, or just be 500 doubled. What is the unit price for one fruit worm? What is the unit rate? So this is the unit price for one worm. This is the unit rate because it's talking about money. Unit rate, right? And unit price for one worm. Go ahead and write those in. So the unit rate would be 1 worm per 10 cents. Oh, it's 10 cents. You can't see it in there. So it's 1 worm per 10 cents. And then the unit rate is 10 worms per $1. Okay? 1 worm per 10 cents, 1 worm per $1. So now they're doing this popcorn. They're saying the unit rate is right here. It's 1 ounces of popcorn kernels to 4 cups. And so you're just going to do a 1 times 2. 4 times 2 is 8. 1 times 3. 4 times 3 is 12. Pay attention because they skip around a little bit. Do they? No, they don't. So go ahead and fill that in and then pause the video. Okay, so hopefully you filled it all in. It just skips counts by 4, but really it's 4 times 2, 4 times 3, 4 times 4, 4 times 5, so forth and so on. And you can see the progression down here. These are kernels on the bottom, and these are cups at the top. So for 12 ounces of popcorn, it's right there, you get how many cups? Well, you get 48 cups, right? And then they say for 30. Well, for 30, you're just going to say, how does 1 get to 30? Well, times 30. So it'd be 4 times 30, and you're going to write that in there. So 4 times 3 is 12, and 4 times 30 is 120 cups. Now it's going the other direction. So if you have 40 cups of popcorn, how many kernels do you need? 40 cups of popcorn, right? I have 10 ounces of kernels. And for 100 cups, well, go ahead and do the math. I would use this right here. I would relate 120. So how does 100 get to 20? Right? Well, we divide by what? We divide by 5. Right? So 100 divided by 5 is that, and then we times this by 5, right? So 5 times 5 would be 25 ounces. Okay, because we just, if 20 times 5 is 100, 5 times 5 would be 25. Alright, so go ahead and answer these next few questions. I'm going to pause the video, see if you can do it, and I'll come back with the answers in just a second. So pause the video, do the work, see if you can get all these by yourself. Maybe you didn't pause it, hopefully you did, but if you didn't, a serving bag of popcorn holds 2 cups of popcorn. So that's a serving, it's 2 cups of popcorn. That's going to help you answer some of these other questions here. So a serving is 2 cups, so we have to take this down to 2, right? And this part would be 0.5, right? So it would be 2 and 0.5 would be down here. Now we have to relate this to 100, so it's times 50. So this 0.5 would be also times 50, and that would get us the answer here. The next one it's telling us how many ounces of kernels we need to make 1 cup. Well, here we go. Here's 2 cups here. We're going to go to 1 cup, and it's half of this. It would be 0.25, so it would be 0.25 ounces. We're getting down to a little bit there. How the rate tables help you answer question A and B. Questions A and B were the ones up here, right? The rate table, how did it help you here? And how to do this one right. How do rates help you answer questions A and B? So this is the one, how do unit rates help you answer questions? Let's just put questions here. Don't worry about this one. Just answer this one. Alright guys, hopefully I did this lesson live, but if I didn't, there you go. It's ready to roll for you, and you guys will hopefully do fine on that. We'll review that on Tuesday if I have issues flying back. Talk to you soon. Be safe. Bye.